The unexpected results achieved on fabric with ice dyeing is what drew me to the process. Ice dyeing creates beautiful, random, definitive blooms during a slow process of dye particles liquefying and moving along the fabric as the ice melts. Manipulating the fabric adds unforeseen patterns, textures, and vibrant combinations of gorgeous color. Join me now as I show you how this process works. Today I'm going to talk to you about the process of ice dyeing. The process of ice dyeing is where we take fabric that is soaked in soda ash. Soda ash enables the dye to adhere to the fabric, and we're going to manipulate the fabric and put it in a single layer in the bucket, and then put some ice on top of it, and then we're going to sprinkle dye on top of that. I've created a materials list and the instructions for how this process will work, and I will post it on my website. First thing we're going to do is mix the soda ash solution. The soda ash, and the first thing we're going to talk about is safety. It's very, very important to wear the proper safety equipment. Rubber gloves, dust mask, an apron, preferably one that is plastic, because past experience has told me that you will get soaked. So, I have here in this bucket 2 gallons of hot water. And now I'm going to stir in the soda ash solution with my hands, mixing it well. And once this is mixed, and you see that it starts to clear a little bit, you can put your material in. I've chosen for the material today cotton dish towels. I believe they're 28 by 28 in size. And the only thing you have to do is just place all your fabric in one piece at a time so it begins to soak. Make sure you open them up, put them in, and you're going to stir this occasionally for the next 30 minutes so all the fibers get the soda ash. The soda ash will fix the dye to the fabric. After we finish this soak, we'll be taking the fabric out and manipulating it on the table to create shapes and patterns before we put it in the dye bucket. All of this fabric was pre-washed in Synthropol to remove any coatings that may have been on the fabric as it was processed. And we will use Synthropol to help wash out the dye in the end. And now we'll let that sit and soak for 30 minutes. So while we wait for the soda ash solution to finish processing, let's take a look at our table. We have several dye powders of colors I've chosen for today. Strong orange, blue violet, turquoise, robin egg blue, grass green, silk black, golden yellow, and dark green. So it'll be interesting to see what combinations these dyes present. You also see some slinkies and elastic bands on the table. I will be manipulating fabric using these, and it'll be interesting to see the patterns that they come up with. I've also found a little thing of starburst salt, as you can see behind the paper towels. I've never used it before, so I thought I'd give it a shot. Here we have our bucket, and I've also put strainers in the bottom to lift the fabric off the bottom because of the wastewater. You don't want to get your fabric in that wastewater because it will create muddy effects instead of nice, vibrant, clear effects. So now we'll just wait for the soda ash to finish doing its job, and then we'll start with the dye. It's been 30 minutes, and now it's time to take our material out of the soda ash solution. Take out one piece at a time. And just squeeze it. Do not wring it. You do not want to get rid of all the water in the material. You just want to make it so it's not dripping. We're going to open it up and put it on the table. part of the enjoyment of this process is manipulating the fabric prior to dyeing. So with this, I'm just going to randomly pick a way to fold the fabric. You can pleat it, you can twist it, you can do just about anything to it as you'd like. The looser the fabric is, the more blooming you will get. The tighter the fabric is, the more white space you'll get. So I've pleated this fabric, and I'm going to take it and twist it, and roll it up. It doesn't have to be perfect unless you're wanting to achieve that, and that's it. And we go and we grab another piece. So this piece, I'm going to twist from the center, and pull it up, and just start to twist it. We're going to see how it goes, and just keep twisting it. And then we kind of scrunch it together. And this is how it's going to lay in the dye bucket on top of the strainer. For this next piece, I'm going to use a Slinky. I'm going to give a big shout out to my friend John Carden, who showed me how to do this. It's not easy to do by yourself, but the effects are wonderful. I have never done it with this size Slinky before, so this is going to be very, very interesting to see how it turns out. Basically, you just roll it up into the Slinky. And once the fabric is all around it, you're going to push it together and secure it with elastic bands. You want to try to get fabric in the fold as much as you can, or let it just happen as it happens. I've gotten beautiful results with Slinkies in the past, so I'm excited to see how this one's going to turn out. So I'm ready to add the first layer of ice and then the first layer of dye. The big Slinky has taken up a lot of room in the strainer, and I really don't want to pack too many more pieces around this right now, but I can always add another layer on top. So right now I'm going to add the ice, and then I'm going to add some dye. So I've added the ice over the fabric pieces, and it's really important that you make sure that all your fabric pieces are covered with ice before you sprinkle on your dye. And now we're ready to sprinkle on the dye powder. First, we have to put on our dust mask. We do not want these fine particles getting in our lungs. Next, put on your gloves. Each dye has a fork specifically assigned to it. The first color I'll take is turquoise. I've also sprayed water on these paper towels because dye powder disperses everywhere. And when you put your fork down, it could disperse all over the place. You want to capture those little molecules so they don't get into the air. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my fork, and I'm going to put some dye on it, and then I'm just going to sprinkle this. I'm going to continue taking the dye powder and adding more to it. This one is strong orange. And you can see you don't need a whole lot, and you just sprinkle wherever you feel like it. Add a little golden yellow. Some robin egg blue. And I think I'll throw in some dark green, just for kicks. Okay, now it's time for another layer of ice. So we've added the second layer of ice, and now we just wait until tomorrow to see how it all turns out. It's been 24 hours, and now we're going to check on our bucket. As you can see, there's just a little bit of ice left. And while you can't quite make it out, the liquid is almost to the bottom of that white strainer. So now we're going to unwrap our fabric and see what we get. I've removed the pieces from the ice bucket, and now I'm going to unwrap them. Here is that star-shaped pattern that I did yesterday, the first one I put in. That is lovely. Here's the second that I rolled up and pleated. That is interesting. Wow. You never know what you're gonna get. Okay, now time for the big boy, Slinky. Still a lot of dye on this. Okay, let's see here. And this is the pattern we got with the Slinky. Now, as you can see, the big splotches are where dye accumulated. But it doesn't really matter, because this is all just something we do for fun. The Slinky also produces these very interesting fish type patterns about midway through this. This is actually a very nice piece. And it's time for the washout. I've cleaned and rinsed the dye bucket and have filled it halfway full with water. And now I'm going to add a squirt of Dawn dishwashing soap and then mix it up. This will help the excess dye to come off of the fabric much easier. Makes your washout easier using less water. Once that's mixed, take one piece at a time and put it in the bucket, and then rinse. Once these pieces are rinsed in the soapy water, I'll change out the water and I'll rinse them again in clear water, and then we'll put them in the washing machine with some Synthropol and wash it on a hot, short cycle. You also want to put in some of these Shout color catchers. These are fabulous. They catch all the excess dye that is inside your machine, and it also dyes these into beautiful colors that you could use in other projects if you'd like. The dyed pieces have been washed out and ironed and now are complete. Let's take a look and see what we've got. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it inspires you to try some ice dyeing of your own. For more information about me and my work, please visit my website at gwenhendrix.com.